Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, the YouTube channel, and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, RingsideNews.com. It is Super Bowl weekend, so of course, I have to have the XFL shirt on. Got your questions here from spring.me/AaronRiff. That is the place to submit questions, so if anybody asks on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, direct them to spring.me/AaronRiff. With that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from T-Fur-Nora. Hey Aaron, with MVP signing with TNA, do you think he has destroyed his career? Personally, if I was him, I would have stayed with New Japan Pro Wrestling or went back to WWE. A lot of people have mixed feelings about MVP returning to TNA, and yes, he actually was in TNA for a brief period around 2004-2005 under his real name Antonio Banks. As far as MVP in TNA goes, I really don't have a major issue with it. Yes, it is a former WWE guy coming into TNA, but he's also been several years removed from his WWE run, and it's been a while since we've seen him in the United States on mainstream television. I'm fine with him being a personality in TNA and even being a wrestler and competing. So we'll see what happens with the storyline. Some people think that it doesn't make any sense that he would be an investor, but keep in mind, MVP was the highest paid superstar in SmackDown history. That was the storyline. So the idea is that his character has a lot of money. So, I mean, it's fine logically that he's an investor, and we'll see where it goes. I'm willing to let this storyline play out and see what happens. Will it be good for TNA? Doesn't really matter. It's just a storyline. He's not a real investor. So time will tell, but I'm fine with it for the time being. And as far as it destroying his career, if he's making good money, then more power to him. If Dixie Carter is able to give him a good payday, then so be it, you know. He is going to do whatever is best for him financially. So if he's making good money in TNA and he doesn't have to work all that much, he has a limited schedule, then good for him. It's a good thing for his career. All right, this next one comes from Rob Zito. Hello, Aaron. In a recent interview, Kurt Angle said he would welcome an opportunity to wrestle in WWE. He said he has unfinished business. What do you think the odds are of that happening? And how do you think at this point in his career he can be used? Well, that's definitely a good question, and the topic of Kurt Angle possibly returning to WWE and finishing his career there, that is something that has been discussed and speculated and debated about. I think that Kurt Angle definitely should finish his career in WWE, and his contract with TNA is up later this year, so it's very conceivable that we could see him back in WWE next year, and I'd love to see him inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015 at WrestleMania 31. Not just the fact that I'll be there, but also I think that Kurt Angle going into the Hall of Fame is the right time. I don't see Kurt Angle having a full-time run again in WWE, and there's that big question, would he be able to pass a WWE physical? That is something that remains to be seen. Kurt Angle at his age and his health, it's still a big question mark if he would be able to even pass a physical and be able to be physical in WWE and athletic and compete and all that stuff. So, I think that it's a long shot that he actually becomes a regular again, but I could very well see Kurt Angle coming into WWE and maybe having one or two more matches, maybe a few dream matches. You could put Kurt Angle in there with Daniel Bryan, and if CM Punk comes back, you could do Kurt Angle versus CM Punk. There's several matches you can do with Angle that would be considered to be dream matches. And, even if it's just one more match, Kurt Angle versus Daniel Bryan, Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker for the streak, that would be something interesting to see at WrestleMania 31. So, it depends on what's going to happen with Kurt Angle and what kind of condition he's in physically. But at the very least, Hall of Fame, once Kurt Angle is done with TNA, I absolutely see him going into the WWE Hall of Fame. All right, this one comes from Shiggy Diggy Bang. What if Bad News Barrett entered the Royal Rumble at number 30 and said to the crowd on the microphone, expecting Daniel Bryan, Well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Bam! Instant super heel, your thoughts. I actually like that idea a lot. I think that that would have been hilarious if they did that, but, I don't think that they expected that kind of backlash that they got. Nobody could have predicted that. I certainly wasn't predicting that the fans were going to crap on the Royal Rumble match. I thought that John Cena and Randy Orton, that match, even that match, I wasn't expecting the crowd to be as down on that as they were. I figured we'd get the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants, but the crowd chanting boring and all that, I wasn't expecting that. And I don't think WWE was, honestly. But yeah, that would have been funny. Tommy Dreamer actually had a really interesting idea if WWE was going to have Daniel Bryan win the whole thing, and that's have Rey Mysterio come out at the end and then unmask, and it's actually Daniel Bryan. That would have been tremendous. But once again, going in, I don't think WWE expected that kind of backlash. All right, this one comes from Gravy Sticks. Do you think a Daniel Bryan win at Elimination Chamber and a Batista heel turn would work to set up a match at WrestleMania? Seems like the fans are still treating Batista as a heel for the most part. I definitely feel that Batista should go heel at some point. I don't think it's necessary to do it before WrestleMania. If, and this is a big if WWE goes with a triple threat match at WrestleMania, puts Daniel Bryan in the mix, obviously Daniel Bryan would be the babyface, Randy Orton would be the heel, and you could have Batista in that tweener role where he's not quite a heel and not quite a face. It really wouldn't matter what role he's playing because Orton would be the obvious heel and Bryan would be the obvious face, and if people are going to boo Batista, so be it. But certainly after WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan as a babyface versus Batista as a heel for the world title, that seems like a great idea. And I think Batista is just better as a heel at this stage of the game. And, some of his best mic work was right before he left when he was doing the whole spotlight gimmick. That was some awesome stuff. And I think Batista just naturally works well as a heel. And I think the fans want him to be a heel. So, I think there's a good chance it'll happen, but I don't think it's necessary for him to turn before WrestleMania. All right, this one comes from WWE Fan 5. Hey Aaron, I know your favorite match is Steve Austin versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13, but what did you think about their match on the April 21st, 1997 edition of Raw? I believe that was the Raw the night after the In Your House pay-per-view, and that was the big angle where Steve Austin injured Bret Hart, and Bret Hart was injured for real, so they had to do the storyline. That was one of my all-time favorite Raws. That Raw, to me, was really a turning point in the Monday Night Wars, whatever they're referring it to as. That was one of those, from beginning to end, a must-see edition of Raw where you could not change the channel. And Steve Austin was really breaking out as a top superstar at that point. And, the whole thing from where he hurt Bret Hart and then backstage, you had Bret Hart going into the ambulance, and then you had Steve Austin in the driver's seat saying, "I told you, Bret, we're going straight to hell." And then Gorilla Monsoon telling Steve Austin, "You're out of control," and Austin's like, "You're damn right." I mean, all that stuff was, groundbreaking at the time, and still to this day, one of my favorite Raws of all time. And then the end with Brian Pillman attacking Austin. I mean, just a tremendous show from start to finish. All right, this one comes from Always Joshin' Ya. Long-time listener and first-time asker. All right. How do you feel about the part-time wrestlers like Batista and Lesnar coming in and taking up all the spotlight when stars like Daniel Bryan should be given it? Please answer in video. I've touched on this before, and I'll just mention it again real quick here. I don't have a problem with it. I think that, I could see it from both sides. I think that, obviously guys like Batista, Lesnar, The Rock, when they come in, they're making a difference in terms of WWE's finances and their box office attractions. There's no question. And when WWE is making more money, all the talent is making more money. So that's a positive. And at the end of the day, it's about making money. And, if those guys can bring in more viewers and bump the ratings up and increase the pay-per-view buy rates, then, they're valuable and they should be brought in every now and then for WrestleMania. But yeah, at the same time, guys like Daniel Bryan, guys that are there throughout the entire year busting their asses, they also deserve some kind of push. But keep in mind, Daniel Bryan is over. He's a major superstar, whether he has the WWE title or not. The title is a prop, and Daniel Bryan is a major superstar. And he's making a great living. So if he doesn't get the main event spot at WrestleMania, it's not the end of the world. But at the same time, if it was me, if it was my decision, I would put him in that WWE title match and have him win the title. I just feel that the fans want it, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter all that much, but I think you should just go with it and make the fans happy. All right, this one comes from Andrea Q35. Hey, Aaron, do you think WWE made a good decision by turning Titus O'Neil heel, or should they have waited until after WrestleMania? I think that it was a good decision. I think that the primetime players have been a tag team for as long as possible, and I think it's just time to split them up. But yeah, it might have been a better decision to wait until after WrestleMania because, with all the other storylines and angles going on right now, this is going to get lost in the shuffle, and people are going to forget about it. And, some people feel that Titus O'Neil has potential as a single star. I think it would have been more meaningful if they waited until after WrestleMania and they could put more focus on the storyline. But I do think the time has come to split them up. But yeah, I would have held off just a little bit longer until after WrestleMania, definitely. All right, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A Video. If you enjoyed the video today, subscribe, share this video on Facebook and Twitter. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding CM Punk and what's going on with him. And I'll see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A Video.